Alright, let's do a case study. So, as you may or may not know, I'm a big nerd when it comes to split testing. I love to split test to see what works, what doesn't work, because that's really what makes a difference in my business, right? And today I wanted to share a case study with you that resulted in over 52% increased conversions while it didn't seem that way.
Looking for clever ways to grow your business? Then you are in the right place. This is where you get a behind the scenes on what's working in marketing today. My name is Wilco the Kreij, and here's what I discovered.
It's Wilco the Kreij with all of you, and the funnel that I'm talking about today is actually a webinar funnel. So actually I want to map it out for those of you who don't know what a webinar funnel is. So basically how it looks like is I always start with like an opt-in page where people can enter their name and email address, right? And then they are sent to what I call the thank you page, right? This is where we give information of like where, when the webinar, like how to join the webinar and things like that. And from there, they can obviously go to the actual live room, all right? And on the live room is usually where we first of all educate people, and at the very end we can actually show them an offer, for example. So that's basically how it works, right? So recently I started testing a new type of squeeze page. You may have seen that on my Facebook page. I started testing with a long form squeeze page, which means that it's a really long page instead of the usual short page, just to see what kind of effect that had. And while doing that split test, I also tested another kind of split test, with mostly based on video, right? So basically I tested these two pages out, and what's funny is that both of these pages for the webinar funnel converted almost identical at first, right? So initially I thought like, all right, that's a bummer, right? They were both converting better than what I had before, but almost roughly the same amount of people who visited the landing page would actually enter their name and email address, right? And then I started looking deeper at the numbers, and that's where I found something interesting. So let me just sketch out a second funnel right here so I can actually, so this is like the second page, the second sequence. So for the first one, after they actually opted in, so actually they were actually on the thank you page, right? I noticed for the first one, over 63% actually opted in, 63.7%, right? However, for the other one, only 56.8% joined the live room, right? So even though the same amount of people joined to actually enter their email address, the way, like the amount of people that actually thought like, all right, now I entered my email address to join this webinar, I'm actually going to join this webinar, it actually changed. And then on the actual webinar, how many people actually made a purchase was actually different as well. Like for this one, it was, let me just, where can I put it, 4%. And for the other one, it was only 2.9%, right? So the point that I'm trying to make here, originally the split test I did was to see which page would get more people to actually enter their email address, right? And on the surface, was the exact same thing. However, after that, all the steps after, it actually had a major difference as well, right? Because for one opt-in page, people were more people actually joining the webinar, and once they were on the webinar, they stayed on longer, and they were more likely to actually make a purchase, right? And altogether, the difference between these two variations is that the top one got me every single time someone signed up, that lead, that email address was 52% more valuable to me compared to the other one, right? 52% more revenue made from every lead on the top one compared to the bottom one, and that's really the point that I'm making here. So when you're doing any kind of split test, when you're looking at like which page is going to convert better, for example, to get more people to opt in, don't just look at that step, but look at your whole business. Like, what's the end goal, and like what are the next steps? Because sometimes originally it may seem like, hey, this one is converting better, but maybe people are not joining your webinar. Or maybe if you're you have a recurring business like I do, maybe some funnels people only stay for 3 months, and other funnels people stay for a year, which obviously is like way more valuable, right? They're a customer for a longer time, they spend more money with you, right? So that's the real point I'm trying to make here. Whenever you run any kind of split test, don't just look at the first step, but look at the whole way through. So we're going to Kreij here, sharing some knowledge, and talk to y'all soon.